I am so excited today because Olivia Scott Welch, formerly known as Olivia Welch, is back on my show. I am so excited to talk to her. She stars as Sam and Hannah in the Fear Street trilogy that is fully out now. We're going to be talking spoilers, so if you haven't watched all the films, come back after. Olivia, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yeah. Last time I talked to you, we had Ray Nicholson with us. So it's the first
Yeah.
time we're doing one-on-one. I'm honored to be with you. It's my birthday. I'm wearing a very birthday
Oh my
color
gosh,
shirt.
happy birthday.
Thank you. So it's a birthday treat to talk to you. And
Oh, thanks.
so this is what's awesome because Sam really takes, front and center here a lot in 1666, but you're seeing half of it as Hannah. So
Yeah.
was it more challenging playing Hannah than Sam, especially doing that accent?
Oh my gosh, the accents were crazy. But yeah, it felt weirdly like a good kind of natural transition because we filmed 94 first and then we filmed 66 second. And so we had kind of like established Sam and Dina, and Kiana and I had kind of like, we had really bonded by that point and we're like very felt comfortable and like safe acting with each other. And then it was fun at that. And we had been doing such like crazy where it's like, I drown and like we're running through a hospital and like we have to murder everybody. You know what I mean? So when we got to 66 and we're filming those scenes at the beginning, we were like, what a nice treat to like be just smiling at each other, just doing some flirting in this field, you know? So it was fun to like make Sam and then get her so like messed up and possessed and go through such a hard time and absolutely get hit in the head over and over, and then get to do Hannah. And then everyone just kind of felt like so relieved. And it was fun because then it was like we had all this pent up like goofy energy that we were like excited to get out. But the accents were crazy. But we coached for a while, which was very helpful.
Oh, no, it's good. And you did a great job with it. And I want to bring up what you just mentioned about you having this chemistry with Kiana and comfortability, which you totally do. Did you guys have to do like a chemistry read when you were auditioning for the part? And how do you get that comfortable with the scene partner, like building that trust?
Yeah, we did do a chemistry read. We did a chemistry read in New York, and it was like 6 hours long. And Kiana, because they like mixed it, there were like 3 Sams and 3 Dinas, and they matched us all together. And then Kiana and I specifically did like scenes together for like 2 hours. And we like left this room and we were like, wow, well, we were in there for a long time. And then we were like, do you think that we booked this movie? Like, because we were in there for a long time doing all sorts of things together. And so we felt pretty, that was nice because it was like when we got to set, we had already acted together for literally 2.5 hours. So we felt already comfortable. But I think Lee, our director, is like incredible at finding people and casting people, and everyone has like incredible energy in the movies and like are literally some of the best people I've ever met in my entire life. And so it was very easy with Kiana because she's just an incredible person. And so it was like, there wasn't anything where I was like, I don't know about this girl. Like she is so trustworthy and loyal as is. And she's just a wonderful actor. And yeah, like we sat down and we like mapped out our relationship and talked about all the stuff that you don't see in the movie to just like build that foundation. And before we even started filming. So like that was already there. And then we just were together every day for months. And like, it's a thing where it's like, you can't not just build trust with somebody as an actor and a person when you're together that often.
Yeah. And that's a tribute to all the hard work you're both putting in. And it shows it's getting reward because one of the biggest things I've seen on social media about these films is people being in love with this relationship of Dina and Sam. Now,
yeah.
What stood out to you about this trilogy, how it handled gay representation compared to like other films in the past? Like what was like really the sticking point for you?
I think it was just the thing that it's like, it's not even necessarily like discussed in the movie at all, which I thought was the coolest. Like, it's like their friends are like, yes, Sam and Dean are together and they're working it out and their drama and it's crazy. You know what I mean? But it's never like treated like they're any different than anyone else or like that anything specific about them is like sticking out to everyone around them. And it was just so cool because I was like, yeah, that's how like straight relationships are treated in movies. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be like, well, they're straight. So, you know, and so, like just like heteronormative things in movies aren't discussed at all. And that was something reading the script where I was like, it's not discussed at all that they're just in a relationship because they're simply 2 people and their friends treat them as such, you know? And that was like the coolest because I was like, this is the way to handle this, you know? And it felt really cool to like film those scenes with everybody.
Yeah, and it's
Cool
so
about it.
enjoyable, and I think it's connecting to so many different types of audiences, which is just to applaud your performance and
Thank you.
obviously Kiana's. But now, what was the big twist? Because when I talked to you about setting up this interview, you really wanted to talk about this film in particular, and what shocked me about 1666, which you didn't
Yes.
tell me, which was the shocker, was it jumps back to 1994. So
That's
we
the
see
coolest.
it's crazy. So,
It's so
but
cool.
I almost forgot that Sam was still possessed. So
Yeah.
was this really hard as an actress to get to that level? Was it exhausting because of how much energy you're exerting doing that? And did you have to do this in your audition?
I didn't have to do it in my audition. It was definitely exhausting because it is so much energy. Because like the scenes, especially the scenes in 78 where I'm tied to the radiator, they were just actually tying me up. Like I would have to get like tied and tied out. Like it wasn't like a fake, you know what I mean? Like where it was
Sure.
like, oh, it's like a rip off like vest, you know what I, like it was like fully, I was fully tied to like a radiator for hours and
No
having
one
to
ever
like
forgot
fight.
about you or anything?
No, no one, people would come and be like, hey, do you
Okay.
need any water? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm good. And Kiana and Benji would just like sit there with me on the ground and be like, isn't today weird? And we'd be like, yeah, it is weird. But everyone was very accommodating. But yeah, it just was so much energy. And it was like a thing where I was like, I really wanted to like commit to those things because I was like, this could border the line of being goofy if it's not scary, you know? So I really was like, I need to commit every moment of this that is on camera because they could use any of it. So there was just so much. And then like, yeah, like when we're in the pizza shop and I'm tied up and everyone's like talking, but I'm in the background, like convulsing, like, like it was just so much physical exertion. And I was like covered in bruises all the time and like having to take so much arnica. But it was very like cathartic and fun to do those scenes.
Yeah. No, and you crushed it. And it reminded me a lot of like how good we've seen, different actors portray this in like exorcism films, and
Thank you.
it's not easy to do. So I think that's awesome. Now,
Thank you.
people always want to know this stuff too. Like when you were auditioning, were you always going to play the part of Sam? Did you audition for other parts as well in this film?
I did like one audition for Kate, but Julia was already auditioning and I was friends with Julia already. And I remember Lee was like, I was like, how'd the Kate audition look? Because she was, I think, she was somewhere. She was maybe in Atlanta or something prepping. And she was like, your Kate audition was good. She was like, but Julia auditioned. And I was like, give it to Julia. I was like, don't even, I was like, throw my tape out the window. Like, Julia is perfect for this. Like, it's
Yeah.
the best casting of all time. And she was like, yeah, we're just going to stick to Sam because Julia is going to be Kate. And I was like, that's amazing. I don't need to be Kate. Julia is Kate. She is Kate.
Yeah, you just didn't want your head being sliced by a bread slicer. That's what it
Yeah,
was,
exactly.
Olivia.
I was like, no, oh no, I'm so sad.
um okay, so but that's the thing too. It's like, just bring up the bread slicer. I love so many of the kills in this trilogy. It really doesn't shy away from that rated R
Yeah.
rating. But we see in this final film all the shady side killers now really coming here into the court.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, Olivia, have a personal favorite?
Oh, this is a good question. I love, oh man. Oh, I don't know, Steve. I don't know. I really love, out of not the like big three of Skull Mask, Nightwing, and Ruby, I do love the Milkman because I think he's so
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
And like the little backstory they gave about him was so scary. And I was like, this is real, real crazy. But I don't like all the Chris Nelson did our like special effects and like was our head of makeup and everything. And he is an like a true icon. Like he's a legend to cinema. And so every time, like there would be days where he would be like opening casts of masks and stuff like that. And every day I was like, this is so cool. Like he is just firing on all cylinders with these creatures because everything
Yeah.
was so crazy looking and his team was so incredible. And he's like such a horror, like a deep horror fan. So I feel like he nailed it with all of them. And I simply can't decide. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, I don't blame you. And even bring up the Milkman, I think what excites people is that we hopefully maybe will see these
Yeah.
characters in future projects.
Yeah.
But switching gears a bit,
Yeah.
I have to, since I talked to you from when you were doing press for Panic on Prime, and I'm talking to you now, you've become a bit of a fashion icon here on Instagram. Is fashion something that is a passion to you just as much as acting is?
Yeah, I think definitely. I remember being like a really young, like 4 or 5, and being like, I'm going to watch Project Runway with my mom, and then I'm going to go watch Twilight Zone with my dad, and then we're going to watch Jaws all together. You know what I mean? So it was like constantly right there with movies. And yeah, like I just remember like reading, like my mom would buy me Vogue sometimes as a kid, like when she was at the, like it was always such a big part of my life. And also something I think is such an intersection of movies, like costume design is always so incredible and stuff to me. So I feel like my love of fashion, my love of movies, at some point when I was like at like 12 or so, I was like, I can combine these together and in this whole actress thing and be an actress / fashion icon. And then that became like my goal for myself.
Genius.
Subconsciously in my brain.
You're becoming your own brand. It's perfect.
Oh, thank you so much.
Smart business lady right here.
Thank you.
But now, what was also, speaking of the fashion, I feel like the whole cast of Fear Street has a lot of really good fashion. There's this great picture you posted where the next slide is the Teletubbies.
Yeah.
Okay, where did that come from? Was that you who figured that out? Who was the mastermind behind
it was
that?
literally like myself, Emily, Kiana, Ryan, and I doing some press on one of the days. And we were sitting there and we got done. And Lee Schroeder, who's like our unit publicist at Netflix, she was like, come here. And then she like flipped her laptop around and it was that
Oh my
Teletubbies.
God.
And all of us were like, how did you even figure this out in your brain that quickly that that's what you were thinking of? But she was on top of it. And she was like, I'm making memes for you guys over here while y'all are doing your interviews. Thanks.
Yeah, it's one of the best matching shots I've ever seen on a press tour.
It's incredible. We were like, this is exactly what we're wearing. This is insane.
No, and yeah, and speaking of too, like you do all these press tours. I hope people understand, like when you're doing these shows, you're getting all this attention, you guys are also grinding out, doing all these interviews. And I think what's so cool about you, just from talking when you were first breaking on the scene with Panic to now blowing up on Fear Street, you've always been very kind to me and a humble person.
Oh, thank you.
Is that something you value though, like that you will keep and treasure as you keep going up this ladder here?
Yeah, definitely. That's something where I'm not even like, I hope so, because I'm making a very conscious effort, because I'm like, it's so taxing for us to do press in like a very like fun way, but it's, it's like exhausting. You do it like all day long, days in a row. And yeah, it's like everybody's literally just trying to talk about the movies. You know what I mean? Like you're as passionate about talking about the movies as we are. So it's like, why would I not extend that grace to you? You know what I mean? Like it just makes common sense to me in my brain. Because I'm like, everyone's just trying to do their job and everyone is equally as passionate about what they're talking about. And it's pretty simple in my head. I'm like, everybody's just trying to like work as a team and like get this product out there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's cool because like, it's good that you have that attitude because like you come off as a leader and having a big role in the film. I think everyone kind of radiates. So before I let you go, it'd be criminal to the fans of these films for me not to ask you this, but we get like almost like an MCU mid-credit scene at the end of 1666 where these mystery hands grab this book.
Yes.
If anything you can answer, do you think we'll get more Fear Street films? Is there a chance? And could we see this cast kind of do maybe like a, American Horror Story anthology kind of thing?
That's truly all that I want. I don't know anything about it specifically. Like, I know that like the idea is out there and people are thinking about it on the production side, but I am like down. I've told them before, I'm like, I will be the Jamie Lee Curtis of this. Like, I love these movies so much and I love everybody that made them so much. And I'm so proud of them that I'll keep coming back. I'll write some for you guys. Like, I don't even care. I will keep the Fear Street franchise alive.
Oh no, I love that. And and that's good. People want to hear that because that gives us a chance. Like you said, maybe we'll see the Milkman, look at his whole story.
Yeah.
We want to see.
And that's the thing too. I'm like, how can we bring back Simon and Kate? Like, I'm trying my best to come up with some logic to pitch to the people at Netflix and Tiernan of like how to get these people back. Because I also want them back. I don't want to film a movie without those guys,
100%. I have faith. The creative people will figure this out. Before I let you go, I have to address the elephant in the room. I don't know if that's a mask behind you or something, but is that part of your next fashion piece? Or I was do you wear that around?
Hold on, I'll show you.
Because I'm like, what is that?
So my writing partners and I made this little movie in the woods during quarantine.
Okay.
just to make a movie in the woods during quarantine. And it was scary. It's called The Party Slasher, and we hope someday people will see it. But in it, everybody dies, and these were made, these
Holy
like
crap.
skulls that our
Wow.
director made. And yeah, our director's Teddy Padilla, and he like is a big Chris Nelson follower. That's a great way to put it. But he's great at like special effects makeup and props making, and so he made everybody's own skull. And this one has like a broken jaw, and it looks like this. But some of them were grosser than this, and some of
Oh
them
my
were
God.
bloody and handmade.
So that's amazing. So you really are a true diehard horror fan. That is
Oh yeah,
awesome
definitely,
to see.
definitely.
So everyone, you've heard it all from here from Olivia. You've watched all the trilogy. Go rewatch it. Support these films. They're all out on Netflix now. And if you haven't, if you love Olivia Welch, watch her series Panic on Prime. It's great. Thank you so much for joining me, Olivia. And I hope to talk to you a third time one day.
I know, me too.